All right, let's get into this. Today, we're breaking down a really interesting framework from a Christian devotional. It's a journey, really. It starts with a super personal problem, what it calls spiritual blindness, and then it zooms all the way out to a massive global mission that's pretty much powered by the internet. So, how does it connect those two worlds? Let's find out.
So everything really kicks off with this one powerful idea from the Bible. It's a verse from 2 Corinthians, and it makes a pretty bold claim. It's not just saying people don't know something. It's saying their minds have been actively blinded. Right from the get-go, this sets up a huge conflict. Some kind of external force is deliberately blocking out the light. This whole idea of being blinded, it's the foundation for everything that comes next.
Okay, so what do they actually mean when they use a word like blindness? Let's dig into the specific definition the text gives us for this core problem.
So what is spiritual blindness? Well, the text is super specific about this. It's not about a lack of education or just being unaware. No, it's described as an active state of being unable to get the truth of the gospel. And here's the kicker. It says this is caused by an external force, an enemy, that is intentionally getting in the way. Framing it like this is so important because it defines the problem not as some personal shortcoming, but as a spiritual battle.
Now, if that's the problem, you can bet there's a solution on the table. The text moves right along to present a very direct answer, so let's look at what it says is the cure for this spiritual condition. Right, so if the problem is a blinding darkness, then the solution is its complete opposite, the light of the glorious gospel. In this framework, Jesus is the one who basically performs a kind of spiritual surgery. He delivers people from that darkness and literally opens their eyes so they can finally see and understand what's going on. It's a very clear light versus darkness story. Okay, so we've got the big idea, but how do you actually do it? This is where the devotional gets really practical. It lays out a very structured, step-by-step prayer for people to follow. Let's break down exactly what that involves. The prayer itself kicks off with 2 steps that happen inside your own head. First step is acknowledge, a personal admission of being a sinner, and it's backed up with a reference to Romans. Right after that comes believe, and this is about accepting the core ideas about who Jesus is and what he did. It makes sense, right? First, you identify the problem in yourself, then you accept the solution being offered. And from there, you take what's happening inside and you bring it out into the world. Step 3 is confess, which is all about saying it out loud. And finally, step 4 is commit, making a real decision to live differently from that point on. So you can see the whole pathway here. It starts in your mind, moves to your mouth, and then it's meant to shape your entire life. So, what's the payoff for this 4-step prayer? Well, it's a big one. A total transformation. The text uses this phrase, new creation. It's not just about hitting the reset button on past mistakes. It's presented as a complete spiritual rebirth, a fresh start with the promise of eternal life.
And this is where things get really smart, strategically speaking. Right after someone has this really profound personal experience, there's an immediate, practical next step. They're offered this free ebook. Now, this isn't just some nice-to-have information, it's the very first point of contact. It's the bridge that takes someone from a private decision to becoming part of a wider community. And that bridge is where this whole thing just explodes in scale. The focus shifts dramatically from the internal, personal journey of one person to a massive, collective, global goal. Let's take a look at the sheer size of the mission they're inviting people to join. 500 million. The mission has a name, Operation 500 Million Souls, and it has that number. Putting such a huge, specific number out there is a really clever move. It makes the goal crystal clear, and it also conveys this incredible sense of scale and urgency. It's a target that's just massive, but it's also really easy to understand.
So how do you actually get people to help hit that 500 million target? The text breaks it down into 3 really clear ways you can jump in. You can pray, you can go, or you can give. You can become a prayer partner, a volunteer missionary, or a kingdom investor. It's a simple 3-part system that gives everybody a way to get involved no matter what their situation is. Okay, so for our final section, let's look at the engine that makes this whole global mission run. Because what's really fascinating here is how much it all depends on modern tech to build and hold this community together.
And this is what I'm talking about when I say global. Just look at this. It's just a small sample of their coordinated prayer times. You've got someone in the US praying in their evening, and at that very same moment, someone in India is just waking up to start their prayer time. It creates this really powerful image of a non-stop 24/7 prayer chain connecting thousands of people all across the planet. And the backbone of it all is digital. I mean, this is a thoroughly modern operation. They're using a whole suite of platforms to stay connected: WhatsApp for prayer groups, Telegram for podcasts, and then they have a huge presence across all the major social media sites like Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube. So let's just pull back for a second and look at the whole journey. The source material starts with this really intimate internal diagnosis of spiritual blindness. It offers a specific personal prayer for salvation. And then it immediately invites that newly transformed person to join a massive global mission that's held together almost entirely by digital technology.
So what we're really looking at here is this incredible fusion. You've got this ancient call to faith, but it's being amplified and organized with every single tool the 21st century has to offer. And that leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. As technology keeps connecting us in all these new ways, how is it fundamentally changing what faith, community, and mission even mean in our world today?